YouTube, it's WG Revival with a bit of a mishmash of some painted figures here, and today I just want to talk about basing. Now, I'm a fairly average figure painter. I don't put a massive amount of time into painting stuff, and I do like anything that's low effort that will give me results or make a big difference, and I think that bases definitely in that sort of thing. Just finishing the base really makes the figure look a hell of a lot better for not a great deal of effort. And this is my usual really, is sort of dark brown earth and bright green grass. See it there on that World War II Brit, and here on this Yorkist man-at-arms. There's variations, so this Space Marine here doesn't have any grass on him at all, still has a textured base. These are on a larger base, so there's a lot of space to fill, so breaking it up a bit with some bits of brick wall. This is still fairly low effort stuff really. That's not taken me a long time to put some brown paint on them bricks, wash it and then just put on some fairly basic highlights. Similarly, the Welsh guys here, they've got autumn basing. It's just another basing material I've added on, so you just put one on, let it dry, put the second on. Here we've got a Frostgrave chap. It's just different coloured grass. I do own some snow effects. I plan to use them for some Malifaux figures, but I don't for Frostgrave because I can't do a dedicated snow table. I can, but I haven't really got the time, money or space to store a dedicated table, so it's going to have to fit in with something that also fits everything else. But really, I think I'm just gonna show you how I do it. It's not how to do it. I certainly wouldn't presume to tell anyone watching this channel what they should or shouldn't be doing, other than please do finish your bases. It makes such a difference for such a small amount of effort. So I'm gonna take this fella and one of his mates and show you how I do it. And we begin with bare metal and bare bases. So this shows, I suppose, the two sorts of bases you normally encounter. Same batch that I'll be painting these two figures together, but yeah, just two different things. So one's a slotter base. Generally, if there's any slot left over, I will just cover it with a bit of paper and cover it with some super glue. It's quicker than waiting for milliput, etc. to dry. In this case there isn't. That's just a bit of milliput that I've smeared on there because I didn't know what else to do with it. And I suppose this is the more usual base for me, so something with the inbuilt metal base or plastic base in the case of a plastic figure. Stuck it on the base and built it up. And in this case with green stuff, if I've got some leftover milliput in my hand, it's milliput. It doesn't really matter, it's going to get covered with basing material very shortly. And here they are. And this is just two sizes of railway ballast. I don't always put two sizes in, but I basically did for Mullet the Barbarian here because he's got a slightly larger base, and I just like the difference in texture. And so because I've got both things open, I've done both of them like that. Ordinarily 25mm base I possibly wouldn't if it was just those. And all that is railway ballast. So I have that one, which is medium, and this one, which is fine. And that's really all it is. And for most uses, most sort of figures, that's what I'll do. And sometimes I'll put bigger bits on. I'll put bits of bigger bits of rock. Sometimes I'll put junk on there. Another one I have is just some sand with some stones in it. This is quite nice for Malifaux because the sand's finer than the ballast. The Malifaux figures have got very tiny feet, and putting them in railway ballast like that would maybe bury them a little. So instead I use just plain old sand, and it looks okay. So back to these chaps. I'm doing it at this stage because I can make a mess, and that's what all of this how I base things is about. It's about being able to make a mess and get away with it, being able to make a mess and not wreck the figure you've just spent however long painting. So I've not been terribly neat with my glue. I'm sure there's bits of ballast stuck to their boots, and once it's a bit drier I can just go in, attack it with a cocktail stick and pick some of this crap off, and that is, well, that's the start of how I do it. And here we are, they're primed. Not a great deal to say about that. If you want to know more about priming, drop me a comment. But yeah, great primer. The bases still aren't probably very well stuck down. They certainly shed a bit of texture in the box. The box that I spray into is basically textured like this, just with layers and layers of primer on it. And that's really it. So next thing I'm going to do, again, make the mess before you paint the figure, is I'm going to paint the base. First stage of painting the base, very well worn, well used bottle of burnt umber from mediocre, and that just covers the whole thing and around the rim. The next stage is a heavy dry brush or overbrush with flat earth. And the next stage is to give it a lighter but still quite heavy dry brush of, well, they can't see it's worn off now, but that's buff from Modern Colour. And it is going all over the boots and everything, and that's really why I do this. I do it now so I can make a flipping mess and not wreck what I've already done. And the final stage for now is just to get the burnt umber again, just go around the rim, tidy it up, and that really is it now, apart from, well, there'll be static grass and so on later, but the next stage is the quite important to me but irrelevant for this video, paint the figure. And there we have the unimportant to this video but quite important as a whole for the project stage of painting the figure. The only real difference in terms of the base is just that it's sort of, the colours have flattened down a little, so the heavy buff dry brush isn't quite as apparent as it was before I slapped on some varnish. And there we go, so these are complete now with the bases, and these aren't tufts. I'm just getting some PVA, blobbing it on to some fairly small areas with a cocktail stick, and then absolutely just grabbing a load of the old static grass, just grabbing it with a pair of tweezers is the word I'm looking for. Just absolutely cover it, pat it all down, shake off the excess, and then leave it a bit and film on YouTube. That's really all I'm doing. So there's lots and lots of ways to do it, and as I'm fond of saying, this is how I do it, not how to do it. I certainly wouldn't hold myself up as anyone who remotely knows what they're doing, but I do think there is method in the madness. There is a deal of sense just to get that's a messy job, get it out of the way first, then paint your figures. I doubt this has changed your life, I doubt it's changed how you paint figures, but it might just at least been a bit of noise while you paint, or you might have got a couple of ideas from it. Either way, I hope you enjoyed watching it, I hope you enjoyed listening to me bang on a bit. Thanks for watching, I'll speak to you soon.